Hey everybody, Matt Brady here, the Carolina Mortgage Coach, and on this episode of Behind the Closing Table, I'm with Samantha Kerr of the Signature Group with EXP. Sam, thanks for being here. Tell everyone a little bit about you and how you got started in real estate.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'm excited to be here. A little bit about me, just to
Mhm.
jump right into it. I have been in real estate for almost 3 years now. Um, and before I became a real estate agent, I actually had a career in sales and marketing. I did anywhere from MLM marketing to SEO to network marketing. I've been in many different roles over the last several years, the last 7 years prior to real estate. And what really got me into this career path after having many is um, really wanted to take my skills to the next level. And for me, that was getting into real estate. That's where I saw my next path. And it has been one of the best career changes I've ever made. And I joined a team back in when was it? October of last year. Again, another one of the best decisions that I've made is joining a team. A little late after my career initially started. You obviously work out some kinks along the way and trying to figure out what's best for you, right? So joined a team last October now with the Signature Group, and I have literally felt like I am exactly where I'm meant to be as far as building my business. And yeah, they've been so supportive. And um, luckily, I've been grateful to be very successful so far. And I'm blessed to have, the support and the skills and the clientele that I have. So
Awesome. Yeah. If you follow Sam on social media, you'll see she's definitely a top producer on her team. What do you contribute to be the biggest piece of your success as a real estate agent?
a lot of people aren't going to like this answer because I'll be honest, when someone thinks about, oh, I want to do real estate, they think easy money, just to be quite frank. It's not. It's not. It's not easy money. It's the day to day of not only being in the field, but also the admin, the office work behind it. So if you can be successful at that, then you can be successful with building momentum in your business, right? So I think a lot of misconceptions that are said is, or that are thought of, is that real estate is a customer service based industry. It's not. It's sales. It is sales through and through. You have some customer service aspects of it, sure, but what makes you a great agent, even in the beginning, is active listening, applying those sales skills, like scripts, everything. I mean, the whole nine, like, is what's going to make you a great agent, not just customer service.
Definitely. How do you deal with, I think what gets a lot of people that they underestimate is your ability to, I would say, time block too, since you don't really have a boss or go into an office or set hours. How do you
Hmm.
try to set up your days for success that you would recommend newer agents or agents that are just struggling, with the chaos that real estate can bring to kind of bring structure to your day?
Yeah, and I think that is one of the most difficult things about any entrepreneurial business, right? Is time blocking, setting up the time where you need to be doing the admin work so that you can be in the field, right? Mine is put my phone on do not disturb. Okay, I block it in time frames. Literally, you'll see on my calendar every single day. And I keep it there. And no matter what I put on the calendar, it stays there. And so I know if I don't put something on the calendar that I have to do during that time, I'm doing admin work. I'm sitting here, I'm cold calling, I'm talking to past clients, talking to new clients. I mean, I'm doing the whole nine. But it's that discipline. You have to be able to take the time to sit down and do the necessary steps if you want to be in the field all the time. I'm mentoring a girl on our team right now, and she's just so excited to be in the field now. And I told her, I was like, look, the being in the field's great, but don't forget the admin piece because it takes that piece to get to be in the field all the time. But it's a repetition. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to do it, get 5 new clients, and then you stop. So you got to keep it going if you're going to build up your business, especially as a new agent.
That's how you get the peaks and valleys of 5 deals one month, and then you're back chasing everybody because all those deals close, and you
Exactly.
put all the other things you need to be doing on the sideline trying to catch up on those deals.
Exactly.
And now, do you also time block for the personal side? So you're doing all this, you also have to take care of yourself. So are your workouts time blocked? You're walking with Joey, like is that stuff time blocked in your schedule too?
Yes, my morning workouts are time blocked. I have to be done and back home by a certain time.
Hmm.
Mainly because my phone starts blowing up at a certain time. So I do like to have that all time blocked. I'm very OCD, so I'm a stickler for my schedule. So yes, workouts, personal care, time with Joey, everything has to be on the calendar.
Awesome. So you've been doing this 3 years, maybe a little bit more. Are there certain areas that you focus on? Are you all up and down North and South Carolina, or where's your go-to areas that if someone's looking, to buy or sell, Sam's your person. These are my expertise areas. What would you say about that?
Yeah, so and I'll kinda piggyback off the, my introduction because I did not add this. So I am Charlotte born and raised. I've lived here my whole life. There's few of us natives left. So I'm very familiar with North and South Carolina, all around the Charlotte outskirts. Um, do I love doing deals in Charlotte? Yes, but I'll be honest, a lot of people there are a lot of people that work in Charlotte but wanna be on the outskirts, right? So I work with a lot of clients that do like to be on the outskirts of Charlotte, whether that's up north, Mooresville, whether that's south, Rock Hill, or all in between. So I do service a wide variety of clientele, and generally within an hour radius of
Mhm.
Charlotte is what I like to stay around. But obviously, it's dependent on the situation. So I really love doing both North and South Carolina. So.
So since you're a native, are there any hidden gems that are, out there that people should be taking looks at to potentially live in that you don't think get the attention that they should be getting for what they offer?
Actually, there is an area of Charlotte that used to not always be the best area, which is west side of Charlotte, over on the other side of the airport in front of Catawba River. So, the river district over there that they're, building up, making it a community. They're going to have restaurants, shopping, townhomes, single family. I mean, you name it, it's going to be everything that we need. Think of Burkdale,
Mm.
Waverly Place, Baxter Village times 10. Like, that's how this is gonna be, and it's literally changing the area, and it's changing the game for community lifestyle,
Yeah,
so
and that's one of those things you really want to see. We can't predict appreciation, but you get in early before all that stuff's built out. By the time
yes.
it's done, there's so much appreciation built into your home. Just like
Y
new construction, you get in there early, you get all the benefits of the price increases as they build out the houses.
yes,
So
yes.
awesome. Well, you touched on, misconceptions that people have about being a real estate agent. What about misconceptions or some tips for newer agents getting into this industry? You've seen growth so fast. What do you see that separates the ones that make it that first year and the ones that, fizzle out that first year?
That's a great question. And I truly feel like I am leading example of the path that a new agent should take. And I'm gonna be really raw here. So my first year in real estate, I tried to do it part-time. Um, and everyone who told me that you can do it part-time, I was like, I can do it." Well, that's not true. That's not true. You can't do it. You can't be available for the clients that need you, during the day when you're working your 9 to 5. So year 2, I was able to find a position in a licensed assistant role, to learn everything that I needed to learn, and luckily, the firm that I went to temporarily, he also had the same skills as far as sales that I did, so he basically taught me how to flip that from what I knew about sales skills, and sales training into real estate, and for 6 months, not only did I, co-agent on every single one of his deals, to learn the ropes, but I also gained so much more knowledge on my already existing sales skills. And then after that 6 months, I hit the ground running and I never looked back. I signed 12 new clients in the first 2 weeks. because of, the knowledge that I have in sales already added to applying it to real estate. And now I'm ready to go. So I think the biggest thing is either getting into a licensed assistant position and or joining a team. It's not about the splits. It is not about the splits when you're a new agent, and I can't stress this enough. It's about the volume. Our CEO Leo says it all the time. In your first year or two, you need repetition. You need to hit 30 deals as fast as possible. It doesn't matter with the splits. It doesn't matter the price point. Gain the knowledge, and that will lead you to growing your pipeline and getting those bigger deals that you want. But I do see a lot of agents who try to go out and um, they want the big stuff right now. They want the big stuff in the beginning, but can you handle the big stuff? And not to, be disrespectful to anybody, but it's like, what have you learned to be able to apply that to these bigger clientele?
Hmm.
So I think joining the team, I think is the number one, and focus on the volume in the beginning of your career for at least the first 2 years, if not longer.
Awesome. Now, transitioning to the buyer and seller side, are there some mistakes or things that you see repeatedly happens with buyers, a mistake that buyers make, or buyer or on the listing side, something that you see that you can give a tip to both sides that, comes across maybe not every transaction, but you see it repeatedly pop up on both sides of the deal?
Yeah, I mean, a very common one that I think most agents are aware of is when buyers try to start shopping without a pre-approval in
Mhm.
hand. And to the naked eye of a buyer who's never done this, that may seem like a minute detail, but it's your job to explain to them how important that is and explain to them that, look, we can't even make an offer until you have this done. So that is a common thing that I see quite often, and sometimes it's an obstacle you have to overcome. And that was back to active listening in your sales skills, not just. I see a lot of the times agents will bulldoze conversations with their potential clients, and they lose them, and they're not understanding what happened.
Mhm.
So I think just you have to break this stuff down to, especially a first time buyer, in the beginning of the process, why this is important, why this needs to happen. And I'll tell you a story. One of my very first transactions, they weren't newer, they weren't newer buyers, but they had not done a pre-approval, firsthand first. And they gave me so much pushback in the beginning, almost to the point of being rude. And when we got to closing, she was like, "I just want to apologize to you. I understand now that you you knew what we needed to do
Mhm.
to make this happen smoothly." So they will thank you later.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because I think that it also surprises some people too, both ways. Sometimes it's, oh, it's not as expensive, or it is way more because they're using online calculators that aren't
mhm.
calculating stuff right, or it's not accounting for taxes and insurance that, depending where you live, can make up a big difference in that mortgage payment that you're not expecting, you know?
Yes, and I will have clients that say, "Oh, I've ran the numbers. I've done it all, and I'm good to go." I'm like, "Listen, I don't think you realize like what goes into this actual pre-approval. So we need to get this part out of the way
Mhm.
before we start looking." And that's another thing. Like as an agent, if if the potential client you're trying to work with is not realizing you're doing what's best for them, you might not be the best fit. It's okay to turn down business. If you're not the best fit to work together, if they're not understanding it, and I'm a very straightforward, I'm a kind person, but I'm very direct with my clients, and they appreciate that. And that's what builds that trust with them. And they know I'm doing everything I can through this transaction to make everything pan out the way they need it to.
Mhm. Awesome. So, what about on the listing side? Is there a thing that you come across or a conversation you have to have?
I mean, yeah, there's always that, um, client that wants more that their home is worth, right? I mean, I think that's one of the biggest common things that we see in this industry is, a client wants to list their home for this amount and the market and the value, they don't support that. And if that isn't supported, then is your house going to sit? Is your house gonna really sell in 30 days? Are you willing to make the price reductions? Because 99% of the time, it's price. Are you willing to make those necessary changes during this process to get the house sold? And I have this conversation with all of my sellers up front. And I like to break it down, not only via email so they see it on in black and white, but I talk about it with them after as well. Be like, okay, I sent you this email. Let's go over it together. So obviously the market, it's not linear, right? It's ever changing. So I think just having those conversations with your sellers up front, who doesn't want to get top dollar for their house? But there are other factors that come into play at that. So
Definitely, especially when it comes to things, one thing I want to hit on is possible renovations or things to do with the house, before you get under contract, from the importance of staging and how your agent decides to get the pictures and the drone photos for the house. Because you can see them online, the ones that take the pictures themselves or the ones that spend a little money and get the professional ones done. So,
yeah.
are there what if you're getting ready to list someone's house, are there go-tos that you say, hey, these are really, you're trying to get top dollar, these are the things we need to focus on? And or when you're having these conversations with people, hey, you might think that brings back some dollar value, but you're not going to get back what you put into the house. What do you see on that side of it?
Yep. Um, it happens quite often. So if we're talking about like a kitchen renovation, kitchens are huge selling points, right? That's your primary area of living space for you and your family. That's where you cook your family dinner every night. So kitchens, obviously they make a huge difference. I think the biggest things that come into play is the regular maintenance of your home, your roof, your HVAC, your crawl space. Crawl spaces are one of the biggest things that I see issues come back with, and they can make or break a deal. So those are, I think, a little more on the lines of everybody wants low maintenance these days. So if you're going to keep up with the competition of new construction, you have to have these things in order. Yes, curb appeal matters. It's one of the top things that matters. But I think having that stuff done, and yes, having an updated kitchen, having a updated bathroom, but these minute things like, oh, I painted all the bedrooms, those aren't really going to add significant value. Obviously, it attracts more to the naked eye and it gets people in the door. I'll give you an example. So if we're talking about a home that has an ADU attached that um, is not heated square footage, right? Like it does add value, obviously, but it's not going to give you the increase in value that you think because then somebody's going to have to go in there and make that a heated square
Mhm.
footage area, right? So these are things that I think sellers we have these conversations up front to begin with, and obviously, like I said, I'm very direct with them, and I think that's why my sellers appreciate working with me is I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear, and if it results in us not working together, that's okay. We're
Mhm.
just not a good fit. But I'm always gonna do what's best for you at the end of the day, whether I lose you or not. So
And don't expect the buyer to pay off your solar panels.
right, exactly. Yes, exactly. Oh gosh, those are issues in itself. So
Yeah. Do you see, does it depend more on the area? Does a pool add value, but don't expect to get dollar for dollar what you did to that backyard to put that pool in? The
yeah, a pool
yeah.
adds a significant value. It does. I mean,
Mhm.
you're looking at 16K plus anytime there's an in-ground pool
Mhm.
put in. Yes, all that stuff adds values as far as like landscaping and stuff. I mean, that's great. You're going to get showings, you're going to get
Mhm.
people in the door, but as far as bumping it up 10, 20K because you have nice landscaping, not so
Yeah,
much.
it definitely comes back to that's one of the things I say to our clients the week of closing is set up your own Gmail for your house. 123, whatever your street is, drop all your maintenance in there, make your reminders to change your air filters, get your HVAC service, keep all that, keep that record. Because, people do all that stuff for their car, but not a lot of people track all that maintenance that they do on their house. And that house is
Hmm.
an appreciating asset where your car is a depreciating asset, yet you keep all that information. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then you have all that information when you do come time to sell. A, you can give it to your agent to show, hey, everything's been maintained. Here's our receipts. Here's everything like that. You don't have to search for everything. So I think that's one of the
Mhm.
the best things people can do when they get into their home. Make sure you track all that stuff, and then it's like a Carfax for your house that you want to get top dollar will prove you maintained your asset top dollar.
Mhm. I've had a client that literally made a spreadsheet of every single thing they've done to the home since they owned it, and it happens, but it's not often that
Yeah.
it happens, and it's just like music to my ears when I see something like that. Like every listing agent's dream is to get
Hmm.
something like that. So because it
Yep.
really helps promote selling your home. So
Definitely. How do you handle, I think a growing market right now are first time sellers. We had a lot of people enter the market over the last 5 years taking advantage of those low interest rates, or getting in and buying a house with multiple offers, appraisal, gap, bringing to that, waiving inspections. Today is a different market. Yes, you still have those properties that, yes, they sell in one day and there's competition for them. But for the most part, it's a very different market than it was just a few years ago. What's your advice when you're sitting down with first time sellers on setting expectations that, hey, this it's a different process too on the other side when you bought for the first time than when you sell a house for the first time. So how do you
mhm.
handle that conversation with sellers?
Yeah. And I'm actually going through that with a client right now is, I help them buy and we are selling. Um, and it is different. It's different, especially for, younger sellers, younger buyers, who haven't done this before, like you said. Um, it's the more of the understanding how it works for them versus the steps, right?
Hmm.
So understanding, okay, why is this the way it is, right? And understanding such as I don't want to dive too much into this, but agent commission, right?
Yeah.
Understanding that that's more part of this avenue
Yeah.
now than it was before. So it really it pans out very well for a lot of my sellers that I worked with, just because I'm able to provide them not only like a seller net sheet of all the expenses. Obviously, it's a rough estimate,
Hmm.
but seller net sheet of everything that what they're going to net on the home, how much fees they're paying out, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but just explaining the whole process of showings and marketing, and I really don't think sellers really understand how much we put into that marketing. Especially, you tell me you want to sell in 30 days. I'm pulling out all the cards. I'm pulling out the videos, the high quality photos, the showcase with Zillow. Not all agents have access to showcase with Zillow to where they're bumping their listing up to the top of the page and doing all these things. But it's I think it's more of a learn as you go. If they trust you, like this situation, they bought with me, right? They trust me, obviously, if they're coming back around and using me to list their home. I think it's more of a, okay, I'm trusting you to take the wheels. Just keep me in the loop every step of the way. So, and I think that's what's awesome about already having worked with somebody before, obviously, but not forgetting that strategy for someone who's brand spanking new and just going to sell their house for the first time is don't let those facts that you share and that information you share fall short, and showing consistency across so you never get rusty on anything. So
Hmm. So, if you look at nationwide stats, North and South Carolina is some of the top growing areas that people are coming to from across the country.
mhm.
If someone was to ask you why buy Charlotte Metro over somewhere else in North Carolina or somewhere else in South Carolina, what do you think are some great selling points for, the Charlotte Metro area? That is North and South Carolina because they're right next to each other.
Mhm.
What would you say that really makes this area stand out?
I mean, over the last several years, I would say that, we have different genres of sports teams, of activities, inside, outside, like you name it. I mean, you want more of a um, younger generation vibe, shopping. You have South End. You want more of the upper class, but also neighborhoods we grew up in kind of feel. You have Dilworth, Myers Park, I mean, you have all these areas throughout Charlotte, and they're all such different vibes, and I think that's what attracts. And but my first question to a client like that is like, okay, tell me about what you do for work, right? What kind of commute are you looking for every day? Do you have kids? How old are they? But I like to find information because I do work with a lot of relocation clients. Um, and a lot of the times, I mean, they're not even seeing the house before we go under contract, right? I'm doing virtual tours with them and stuff. And I will say that, I've been grateful to have the amount of respect from them that I have after closing when they come back and tell me, like, "This is exactly what I was looking for," like, "The area is great, this is this." So and again, it all boils back to active listening, not bulldozing your client into, "Oh, you should do this, you should do this." Listen to what they want, find the area that fits them, and make it work and make it happen, and then I'm telling you, you're gonna build up that pipeline
Mhm.
and build up that client that referrals, for many years to come. And that's again, and I'm sorry, I'm like resorting back to all this other things that we've already talked about, but that again, why now you focus on volume because these clients are going to turn around
Mhm.
and ripple, right? They're going to turn a ripple effect and they're going to keep coming back and keep coming back. And first time buyers, they generally sit in a home for what, 2 to 5 years. They're going to come back around if you impress them the first time around. So,
And with so many people moving here, there's so much more market share coming to this area. You know,
mm-hmm.
so um, a fitting question that goes along with the name behind the closing table. When people walk away from the closing table, what do you want them to remember about the experience of working with Sam?
I would say my willingness to go above and beyond for every single client, no matter no matter if we had some friction in between the transaction or not, because home buying is not the smoothest transaction, and as much as I try to control it, I'm human too, and sometimes things aren't very smooth. But at the end of the day, we always get the job done, and my clients know that about me, and they trust that about me is that I'm always going to do what's best for them. So I think I'd want them to, remember that, I truly had their best interest at heart, and they're happy, obviously, so
The one thing I try to remind everybody is the offer, whether what side you're on, that's just the first negotiation of many through this closing process. You're going to have
mhm,
repairs, you're going to have inspections. So try to start it off on the right foot. Yes. As a buyer, you're trying to get the best deal. And as a seller, you're trying to get the most you can. Don't take it personal. It's just you're both trying to get a good deal. But remember, this is just the one of many negotiations you're going to have throughout this process. So don't start with the bitter taste in your mouth with someone.
mhm. I was at a closing table the other day, and I was telling my client as we were sitting at the closing table how I'm always trying to work on, like, putting my time aside, right? 'Cause I always let it overlap, and it's just because I enjoy what I do so much. I always wanna be there for my clients, but I also know I need to refill my cup too. And I told her, I said, "It's not even my clients, it's me that can't put my phone down to not answer them, even if it's for 30 minutes for me to get something done." So, I mean, that's just another client. I mean, I talk with my clients all the time. We really truly build a relationship with every single client that I work with. We always have a relationship when it comes out of it, right? Professional, and I feel like we do become friends, me and most of my clients. But when you love what you do, it's never work. I'm sure you can attest to that, Matt. But so it's just more finding that balance to, turn it off, turn it on, but also be accessible, right? So
Mhm.
because that is one praise that I get from my clients is, how fast, I communicate back and get an answer that we need from something that's going on, whether it's an inspection, whether it's a repair, like I'm quick. I'm very quick. And I think my clients appreciate that. So we can focus on the next good thing or bad thing that we have to overcome. You know
Awesome.
what I mean? So,
Yeah. Great. So as we get to the end of this, and we've talked a lot about real estate, let's let people know a little bit about Sam behind the real estate curtain. So, what's something that you enjoy doing when you're filling that personal cup that, people might not know about you?
Well, I'm a very simple woman. Um, and I am very work driven, just because, like I said, it's not just work for me. I love it and it's my lifestyle. But a lot of people know that I have a almost 13-year-old pitty named Joey, and he is my world. He is, on his way out, unfortunately, with some heart stuff, but I'm been trying to spend as much time as I can with him by the time we have left. So I love to sit home and spend time with him. He literally goes to showings with me every once in a while. He goes to, open house, not open houses, but he goes to inspections with me and everywhere. If I can take him, he's going.
Mhm.
Because he just loves to be with me. So in my spare time, I'm normally with him. Or in the gym, focusing on my fitness goals. Years and years ago, I was a personal trainer, so fitness is a huge part of my life still, and I think it, obviously it helps keep you sane when
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
in a type of industry that we're in. I think
Good
it,
stress
it
relief.
really helps.
Good
It is.
stress
It
relief.
is. So
So are you, since we're another good thing about this area is we are in the middle, of close to the mountains, but also the beach. So are you team beach or team mountain?
I am definitely team beach. My family and I have been going. Let me put it like this: my family and I have been going to the same beach, same condo every year for the last 25 years,
Oh, wow.
for our family beach trip. Yeah. Love the mountains too, but I don't know, something about the beach just helps me clear my head. So,
Awesome. So if someone really connected with you, I think that's the biggest thing on both sides of our industries, the mortgage side and the real estate agent side is you want to find someone that you can connect with. A lot of times personalities are the biggest thing that could be the defining factor between who you work with. People have the
hmm
two same skill set, but the person that you connect with or your personalities mesh. Um, that's usually who you're going to end up working with.
hmm
So, if someone really connected with you and your story and what you had to say today, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Well, I am very active online on my social medias. I do like to share a lot of my experiences with my clients, my successes, and obviously a lot of my personal life too, because they do commingle, and I like it that way because it allows a potential client to get to know who's Sam, right?
Mhm,
And that's why it's very important for me to commingle, not just and I'm gonna say it, not just real estate vomit, right?
mhm.
No one wants a robot. They want a person. They want a person. So I try to display that. So you can find me on Instagram at Sam Sells Charlotte. You can find me on Facebook at Samantha Kerr Charlotte Realtor. I think it's CLT Realtor. And you can also find me on TikTok at Sam Sells Charlotte. Or you can, reach out to me directly. We can attach my phone
Yep, our
number and
contact information will be for you guys to see.
yeah.
I know you also started, mentoring people and stuff like that. So same way,
hmm
if you're an agent that's looking to take the right first steps in your career, as we talked about earlier in the episode, Sam is open to having those conversations with her. So reach out to her if you're looking to get into real estate, or maybe you're in real estate now and it's just not clicking the right way and you're trying to set that right foundation. I believe,
Yeah.
you are looking into that too. So you are open to that avenue for real estate agents.
Absolutely. If you don't have a direction, you're a new agent, you don't know where to start, give me a call. I mean, I'll have a conversation with you whether you decide to come over to my team and, come over here and let me help you mentor you. I'm happy to help, be a sounding board so that you can figure out which direction that is best for you. Because at the end of the day, I was telling someone this yesterday, you always have to do what's best for you. Don't be afraid to hurt anybody's feelings. Don't be afraid to say, oh, I'm going to come over there with you and then go somewhere else. It's okay. It's okay. I want you to just be successful, but I will say I will give you the hard truth, right? That real estate is not easy. It is not easy. And if you're willing to put in the work, you will see the results, but it's going to take the right steps in the beginning of your career to do that, and putting the distractions aside. So I'm here to help. Reach out to me. I'd love to have you as part of my team. I'd love to mentor you, and take you down the same path that I went down.
Awesome. Well, you heard it, everybody. Reach out to Sam for your buying or selling needs, or you're looking to set your career off in the right way. Give Sam a call. This is Matt Brady, your Carolina mortgage coach, and this is your latest episode of Behind the Closing Table. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you, Sam, for being here.
Thank you.